Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Learning Guild. Today's DevLearn 365 webinar, Unlock the Future-Focused ID, Your L&D Career in the Age of AI. And our speakers today are Michelle Lenz and Ellen Burns-Johnson, both with ELB Learning, who is sponsoring this webinar. Ellen Burns-Johnson is a game-based learning designer, podcaster, agile practitioner, and innovation evangelist. As VP of Learning Strategy at ELB Learning, Ellen guides how team members across the company think about learning, organizational psychology, and technology. She and her team work directly with customers in the early stages of partnerships. Ellen shares her life with her husband, 2 dogs, and 40, yes, 40 houseplants. Michelle is a leader in learning strategy and technology within the corporate space. Often a disruptor, Michelle has modernized training strategies at companies including UPS and Oracle. She holds several certifications, including prompt engineering, integrated talent management, Hogan assessments, 360 feedback, and is pursuing her ICF coaching certification. Michelle has a background in English and theater. She loves exploring new technology and hanging out with her dachshund. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to the ladies here of ELB who will be presenting that session.
All right, hello everybody. I'll go ahead and share my screen, Karen?
Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah, all right. Let me grab my Chrome here. All right, we seeing that? Hopefully, I can see my Chrome. So welcome everybody. I hope you're having a good Thursday morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. I'm in Seattle, which is a little chilly this morning, considering it's May.
Same, yeah.
So, yeah, well, you're in Minnesota.
Yes, that's famously chilly. We have one nice month. It's not this month.
We have 3. Okay, so welcome to the Future Focused ID, Thriving in an AI-Powered World. So as Karen introduced us, I am Michelle. I've been in learning a very long time. I love AI at ELB. I started ELB in January and I love it there. I get to do a lot of learning strategy and I get to do a lot of AI strategy within learning. And to me, that's the best of both worlds. We're excited to talk to you about how AI is transforming what we all do for a living and what skills will be essential as we move into the future.
Yeah, and I think we're really excited. I'm really excited to delve into this with you. Michelle, I consider you an AI expert, and I would say I'm an AI interested, AI enthusiast. But it's all changing so quickly. I feel like I have to go to a different webinar every month just to learn what's going on. And so I'm hoping we can, through our conversation today, kind of distill what's out there for people and what they should be thinking about in the next, 6 to 12 to 18 months of their careers.
So I am fooling with a new thing today called AHA Slides. So we will be going out there to do some interactivity. We encourage you to participate in our word clouds and our polls and our discussions. So this is the QR code, but we'll still have this, you'll see this QR code over and over again, as well as the link, which is ahaslides.com, ELB, FFID, Future Focused ID. All right, so you will see that again and again, but we will be using that throughout the presentation. So, like right now. So, go ahead and head on out there and we will talk about what are the emotions you feel about AI and its future in the workplace. And you can, I believe I've set this up. Oh, look at that. Okay, we're getting lots of stuff here. I love it. I love to watch a word cloud grow. I also love that somebody put in a little robot. There's a little robot head dancing in there.
Wow, excited is really big.
Yeah, it makes me happy.
What else are you seeing in there, Michelle? I
Experience
see-
is excited and like huge, curious. That one's dancing
yeah,
a little bit. We've got, there's, and then out on the sides, and this makes a lot of sense to me. Everyone's really excited, really curious, but we're all a little like, what's going to happen? There's a little bit of fear and no, maybe not fear, maybe wariness.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
better word.
Wariness feels right.
Pensive. That's a good word. I see that. That's a good word. Um, it's going so fast. I can't even.
I
Okay.
think that makes sense though, right? I mean, there's nothing
Yeah,
contradictory about being both excited and a little apprehensive, as Lisa said in the
correct.
chat. I think that's definitely how I feel. Every time there's a new feature or something that comes out, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And then I think, well, what can I do with it? And then I think, what are the
Don't come for
implications?
my job. I see that in there. Don't
Yeah.
come for my job. I think whoever wrote that, I think will make you feel a little better about that today.
Okay. That's good.
Okay. All right. More time for one-on-one. Optimistic. Intimidated.
Hmm.
I think you're gonna feel better. It's okay. I'm not going sideways. Nervous is getting bigger. Okay. All right. Time saver. Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Inevitable. Somebody wrote inevitable. Freaked out, challenged. Wow, oh wow, this is just all over the place. All right. Okay.
Complex
Um,
emotions, complex feelings.
Many complex feelings. I'm actually really glad we did this. Okay. All right. So we will keep this going as long as you all want, but I'm going to head back over to the presentation. And we will go on to the next slide. Which may or may not make you all feel better. I don't know. Um, this is how I suspect the future org chart may look. Um, so as AI use surges ahead, leaders who are very familiar with AI will see its potential to be transformational, as transformational as the shift from maybe the typewriter to the computer, right? That's a big transformation. So within the next 5 years, and a lot of these stats I'm using came from the most recent Microsoft and LinkedIn report that came out in April. Um, Within the next 5 years, 41% of these leaders who are familiar with AI are expecting to redesign business processes from the ground up with AI. But they anticipate orchestrating and training a team of AI bots and ensuring the ethical use of AI will be included in that. So, what I'm imagining here when I read things like that is here are all of us, right? We're here, but we've got all these little AI assistants, all these little heads. They're just helping us. They're not replacing us. They're helping us along. They are assistants. They're just making our jobs easier. They're not replacing headcount. They're just, well, free headcount on the side, really, is how you think of them. They
Augmenting,
don't take
maybe.
up augmenting. Yes, they are
Yeah.
augmenting what we do so that we can do more of what we do better and they can do the stuff we don't like. So this is the AI augmented workforce. So this is where generative AI is at work right now. So, well, there are 41% of leaders who do know, who are extremely familiar with AI. There are still a lot of leaders out there who do not want to let AI in. Um, so, without guidance or clearance from top leaders, employees are taking things into their own hands and keeping AI use under wraps. It's a secret. 78% of all AI users are bringing their own AI tools to work. So bring your own AI, BYOAI. If you remember, bring your own device. Now it's bring your own AI. And at smaller and medium-sized companies, that's even more common. The stat is 80%. And of these 78% overall of people using AI at work, 52% are reluctant to admit it because they're afraid AI could replace their job. The stat I love here is that 46% of these people started using this less than 6 months ago. This is how rapidly this has spun up for all of us. This technology has come out of nowhere. It's like a rocket ship. Now, before anybody tells you that you have to be 25 to understand AI, know that that's not true. Gen Z, yeah, they're bringing their own AI to work, 85%. But boomers over here, 73%, and millennials and yay, Gen X here in the middle at 76%. So, and 78 respectively. So we are all like, that's all of us. We are all right now using AI, and some people are just using it as a search engine. Some people are power users. I use it for pretty much everything all the time. So, but it's everybody. So don't be intimidated by it. It is a great thing, and it's not just for the kids. But what's happening here is that everybody's using it. No one is talking about they're using it. And companies have this amazing opportunity to bring in AI at scale, and they're missing that. And so there isn't a clear strategy. Company data is at risk because of cybersecurity and personal information, right? Data privacy and company privacy. So all of that, if you think about this, is just a place where L&D can be in there and saying, hey, we can help. Here's how we can help drive your AI strategy. Because L&D, you touch everybody. And so this is that opportunity to get in there. Now, this is a slide that will make everybody feel better. Over the years, leaders have already gone for the great technical talent. But now they're wanting non-technical talent with AI aptitude. So the skills, people who know how to use generative AI tools like ChatGPT, or of course it was a Microsoft report, so Copilot, but any of those. 66% of the leaders they talk to wouldn't hire someone without AI skills. 71% said they'd rather hire a less experienced candidate with AI skills than a more experienced candidate without them. So that is significant right there. Have AI and less experience, you'll get the job. Now, but here's something else that's key for L&D in a place where we can really make an impact. Well, leaders recognize the value of bringing on new employees with AI. They're missing the value of developing all of us who are already there, right? 45% of US executives are not currently investing in AI tools or products for their employees. 39% of people globally who use AI at work are training themselves. They're not getting that training from their company. And only 25% of companies are planning to offer training on Gen AI this year. This is where, again, we can make a difference. This is an opportunity for L&D to take hold of that AI strategy, create an AI academy, whatever we want to do, and really influence the AI strategy, how AI is used, and how people are going to learn it throughout the organization. Now, this slide, I really just wanted to put this in here because right here, it's saying when thinking of the year ahead, 60% of creative design leaders have expressed a moderate to major concern about not having enough talent to fill roles. People are worried about not having enough creative people. Every instructional designer I know is a creative person. We are going to be needed, and Ellen and I will cover more of that soon. We are going to be needed. They are not looking for programmers anymore. They want creative people.
Hey, Michelle, before we transition into kind of the next, which is like, well, what do we do about it? There were a few questions and
Oh,
points coming
yes,
in through the
I
chat,
can't
and I
see
wanted to
that.
just kind of, that's okay, I can read them out really quick. I think the first point that came up was from Jackie, who mentioned that there were some concerns about private data and intellectual property when it came to using, Chat GPT off the shelf. So they developed their own generative AI using GPT-4 tech so that people feel more comfortable using the internal tool that was developed there than just going out. And they mentioned, it keeps getting better and better, and that just builds more confidence. You think that's one good way that companies can start building some of that capability?
Several of our clients are doing that right now, and it's fantastic. And the comfort level they're building with AI is absolutely amazing. So that is the best way actually to build the guardrails to keep your private data in and the rest of the internet out. The scary parts.
Okay, so I have a couple other questions, kind of maybe along some similar lines and some different lines. What's the relationship between machine learning, now known as AI, and if could you summarize briefly how one became the other?
Oh, this is a whole different question.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, it
Oh,
is.
I wish I had that slide. Somewhere I have a slide that explains all of these things. Um, yeah, I actually wish Scott was here. Um, Machine learning has uh, mm,
It sounds like it might be a topic
I will
for a
come.
different webinar. Yeah.
That's a topic for a different webinar.
Okay. All right. We can put that one on the
Yeah,
shelf and come back to it. So I
yeah,
think maybe do you have time for one more question before we move on?
let's go for it.
Okay. So I think that had a couple questions come in about ensuring ethical AI, right? So are the ethics about AI and the questions about that and knowledge about what that means, also is awareness about that also growing alongside awareness of the technology?
Not as fast as I would like,
Yeah.
but I can get on a soapbox about this. So now that you've asked the question, that could be the rest of the webinar. Um, this is my favorite topic, but short and sweet. They're all the AIs out there, all the LLMs are trying to incorporate ethics into their models, the guardrails they put up, the rules they set. When you think of a large language model, they're all really powered by just one really big prompt. And those prompts are written by people, and people have inherent biases. So they're all working very hard to be aware of those guardrails. So Claude AI, which is it's run by Anthropic, invested in by Amazon, has probably, I don't want to say the most guardrails, but the most awareness of ethics. Copilot probably has the most guardrails because it's Microsoft and meant more for business. ChatGPT is getting more guardrails. Google doesn't have a lot of guardrails, but at the moment it can't create people because they tried to make it a little too woke for its own good. So the the LLMs themselves that people are trying to remove stereotypes and biases and things in them. Every time you use a GPT, you are training it, unless you're using like an internal one. At ELB, we use a Teams version of ChatGPT, so our data is not being trained on. If you have an internal instance, like it sounded like Jackie does, your data is not being trained on. But if you're just using public ChatGPT, you're being trained on. So you're teaching it. And when you're teaching it, just like when you're teaching a kid, they're learning. And so try not to incorporate biases into a prompt. So if you say to it, I want to talk to my nurse when I have a surgery and I want her to say that, or what do I need to ask her? Don't say that. What do I need to ask the nurse? Right? You don't want the GPT to learn that all nurses are women. Um, so it's all in how we train the GPTs. And so we need, as training people, we need, as the L&D, we need to incorporate that into the training we give our teams on how to write correct prompts. I can go on for hours on copyright. So you need to be aware of that, and not, you can do things in the style of, but you can't do a direct copy of. The guardrails are getting better on that too. But there's ways to get around stuff. And then finally, how strict do you want to be about, was this written entirely by AI? So we have several products at ELB that offer AI content generator wizards inside. Lectora and soon to come Microbuilder have wizards inside them. You can say, write content about this, and it will generate a whole course for you if you wanted to. But it also includes a statement that says this content was generated by AI and has been checked by the instructional designer. That is included in the content generated. So you, as the instructional designer, are responsible for then going back and verifying that information, because AI does hallucinate because it wants to please you very much. So that is also part of the ethics here. Don't just rely on AI. You still have to rely on humans. Why we won't go away. Does that help answer the question? That was a lot. Go on and on and on.
I think we're going to be, I mean, I think it's a good way to think about, how we need to upskill for using AI, even though the AI's capabilities are going to continue to change, right? But I think we're going to get into that in more detail throughout the rest of the presentation. So maybe let's move on.
Okay. So AI augmented learning and development. So think about how we can augment what we do now. So ideate. We can do everything from ideate ideas, like I was just talking about, generating content, or just brainstorm, to hopping in data and getting nice synthesized information back out from that. You can put in any range of data. Now you can even pop in an Excel spreadsheet or a bunch of them, or PowerPoint or anything, and ChatGPT will read it in a matter of seconds and identify the data. So it will really help you generate more ideas by being able to understand your data and help you tell the story with it. Iteration. Iterate, right? We always have to iterate. And the prompting itself is based on iteration. So this is a great way. There's so many different ways you can iterate using AI. You can iterate on your prompt to get better and better ideas. You can run ideas through it and get its feedback, because you can say, hey, you are a learner with these qualities, and then you feed it your course and get its information. You can get its feedback. Can't hurt. There's so many things you can do with iteration and how you're doing. You can create an adaptive learning tutor with AI. Optimization. We can leverage AI to analyze individual needs and existing processes and develop custom solutions that are efficient and effective. Did I skip personalized? Wait a minute, I did. Sorry. I'm not going in order, so let me go backwards. Personalization. Tailor training to each client dynamically. And I'll go back to that adaptive learning tutor thing there. That can make things very personalized, right? Exactly what they want to learn, what they need to learn, when they need to learn it. Always aligning with what your learner needs, the progress they need, the success levels they need, and keeping them feeling okay about it. So real assessments in real time. You can use a lot of AI for assessments. Um, there's so much you can do with personalization in AI. Back to optimization again. There, a lot of this is the same, but continuous feedback loop, refining your solutions based on real world performance, keeping everything very relevant and practical because it's very easy to update because now everything's in real time. And then finally, administration, um, automation of boring tasks that we do every day, content creation, data collection, chatbot customer support, freeing up resources for our customers, our clients, our learners, and allowing us to focus more on coaching, creativity, and more impactful results. And we can streamline our operations, get more done. And I'm going to say that we enjoy doing and that we're better at doing as humans, that the AI, not as great as doing. AI and instructional design. I love this little guy. AI can automate a lot of your tasks, and there are ways to do it. You can do it just through prompting. You can do it by creating repetitive agents. You can do it by integrating AI into various things. But because you can handle, as I said, you can feed anything into it now. Data analysis, well, grading papers. Imagine if you're a teacher. Oh, just feed things into it and it can grade. So grading essays to a degree, freeing up time for you to be strategic. Doma, at one point we were going to track time on various projects, and I wasted too much time actually creating, because I wanted to see if I could do it, creating an automated AI that would actually just track all my time for me by me just having to type one little thing, and it would tell me, then spit out everything and just pop it into a spreadsheet for me. And I did it. I made it work. In the end, I didn't need it, but I made it work, and that was really all that counted. But things like that, that you don't want to spend a lot of time doing those administrative tasks that drive us nuts. You can do it. If you have to, for instance, price things out, you can probably make a little spreadsheet GPT and feed it into Chat GPT and it will create it for you. There are so many things you can get some ROI on that this will just do for you. This little guy is your instant support. So back to the slide deck. Again, ahaslides.com, ELBFFID, and I will, there's the QR code if you need it again. And oh, I need to go to the next slide in the deck myself. Whoa. Oh gosh, the thing is still moving. And I need to go here. Then you all can go there too. Are you currently using AI at work? We got a couple options. No, because legal won't let me. Oh, that actually has a, I thought that might have a not small number. All right.
While we're waiting for answers to come in, Michelle, can I ask you another couple of questions from our Q&A?
No, I won't let you.
Oh, okay. Wait, you're not legal. I'm going to ask anyway. All right, so this is a great one, and I have no idea actually how to do this other than maybe asking for it live. But let's say a candidate indicates on their application that they know how to use AI. How do you validate that's true in the hiring process? I'm hitting you with the hard
You know,
questions if you haven't noticed.
well, you know how I would do it? It's the same way. Well, when you interviewed me, you put me through a little case study on the spot, right?
Mhm.
I would certainly ask a question about what kind of prompt would you create? Or how would you approach this in AI? Same thing, right?
Yeah, actually, I just saw Eric.
And
Eric put that same
hopefully they'd
suggestion in
say
the chat.
something like, yeah, I mean, hopefully they'd say something like, I would create a structured prompt that asks for this, 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 and this. This is why. And then maybe I could create a recurring agent, you know. And you go, okay, they know what they're talking about. Okay.
That makes a lot of
All right.
sense.
Th-
What do we have?
things have stopped. Things have stopped moving. Okay, 8%. No, because legal won't let me. Um, no, but I want to. 20%. Almost 70% yes, we're currently using AI at work, but we didn't ask here, and what we should have is, am I allowed? Or is it bring your own AI? And then there's this tiny little percentage that isn't enough to actually give me a number, which is no, and I don't want to. So part of me really wants to dig into that, but probably not right now. So this is great, everybody. Thank you. Now we're going to talk a little about that. So there are a lot of AI tools on the market. I can't even, and this, I know this isn't legible because it's so tiny, but that's because there are so many tools, which is really my point here. And I don't know, back in the early 2000s, in the dot-com boom, there was another graphic that looked a lot like this. And these companies went in and out and in and out, and some of them existed, some of them survived, some of them didn't. Back then, a lot of them didn't have vowels. That was a thing. Now we seem to have maintained vowels, so the English major in me appreciates that. But, you know, so many, and it's constant. But one thing you'll notice is that the big ones are also incorporating things. So Canva has now incorporated a lot of AI into their system. So they've got sound generation through AI, they've got image generation through AI. Figma is a big one. Of course, all our standard tools. Health and personal is now a category. Is that learning? Learning is, we've got Babel, we've got Bird Brain, we've got all kinds of things. And I guess my point is that there's just so many. And for us as learners, or as learning designers, there are things like creation. So Pictory, Pika is, if I recall, a really great video tool. Creates very small. You can take a graphic and it'll make the little characters talk. Synesthesia, which is the end all be all. Then there's coding. There's things to help you write copy. There's things to help you edit copy. There are things to help you create sound. Where's speech and voice here? Of course, there's 11 Labs. That's the big one. Revoicer, Voiceify, music, Soundful, AudioCraft. There's just so many. Will these all be here tomorrow? I don't know. But they're all here now and they're worth playing with. There are always big ones, maybe Google, look at some reviews. There are always big ones, but that will survive or get bought by someone like Adobe. And all your big ones like Adobe are integrating, and they all have their own AI now too. But this is where it's going, and this isn't going to stop. So everything will become much more streamlined because this is getting easier. The voices are getting much more realistic and much less like a robot. And the video is almost lifelike. There's something out there, if you Google Microsoft Vasa, VASA, and you watch some of the samples out there, it's just experimental right now. It's frightening how real the AI people look. So, if you're someone like Taylor Swift, you might want to be scared because some fakes are coming soon. But it's also something to be aware of, that kind of stuff is out there. And again, as L&D, we're the gatekeepers. We're the ones who are going to teach people about that. who are going to teach people how to stay safe. And as we learn about those and as those things are released on the market, hopefully we can learn how to recognize what's real and what's not. And hopefully the companies making this stuff will make it so we can recognize what's real and what's not. But it will be our responsibility to teach others. Personalized and adaptive learning, again, with AI, this is just a natural thing that we can do as designers. Create engaging learning tools. They've got enhanced knowledge retention. Learning path can be tailored, more effective learning outcomes, adjust the content based on real-time feedback. Everything's more efficient and engaging. There's so much you can do to tailor things to each learner. You can generate personas ahead of time to make sure what you're creating fits. It's just endless, the things you can do. Let's talk about what we're going to need to learn. So, and Ellen, you can interrupt me at any time.
Well, it's interesting because our Q&A, I've been following our Q&A and following our chat, and there's a lot of conversation and we have a lot of participants, so that makes a lot of sense that we'd have a lot of volume. But the other thing is interesting is that some of it's kind of anticipating what you're going to get to in the slide deck. I wanted to just ask really quick, kind of leading up to what's on this slide, are we going to talk about prompt engineering in any capacity today?
In an outside sort of way, but we're not going to teach you how to write a prompt.
Okay.
Anybody wants me to, I can run a session on that in the future. I love that.
Yeah, we might come back to that. We might come back to that idea. Okay.
All right. Emerging technical skills, data literacy, understanding the data. You don't have to be the one to go out and get the data, but you need to understand how to read the data and then how to take the data and tell a story with it. Data storytelling is now a thing. Maybe some foundational programming skills. And I say that because I'm a firm believer in foundations. When we at ELB, when we teach our AI workshops, we teach everybody everything from this is what AI is all the way up to more advanced prompting, right? Because we think understanding the foundation is very important. I think if you're going to talk to your IT department about AI, you don't need it, but it's also not going to hurt to have a vague idea of how Python works, which is the language AI sits on. So you have a vague idea of of what you want. This way you can go talk to IT and, well, you're just way more on the same level and can handle that conversation, and they will be willing to talk to you about it too. Quickest way to learn that, go ask ChatGPT to teach you. And it will, in a really easy way. And then again, a foundational understanding of AI, a large language model, where did it come from, where's it going, and a couple of the things in between. Now, here's some things we have that AI doesn't have. These are the reasons we are going to succeed. One of our instructors at ELB is actually a professor of digital humanities. I love that. I didn't even know that was a thing. It wasn't when I went to college, but digital humanities. And I just think that's fantastic. And so while you need technical skills, creativity and innovation are still so crucial. And it's up to us to build engaging experiences. We can't do that without critical thinking. We do that. Humanities experience. I mean, I'm proud to be an English major right now. My parents, finally, they're like, oh, it'll pay off. Because believe me, for a while, why does she have an English degree? Language arts, design thinking. I personally base all my prompts in the design thinking methodology. And again, that's something humans do, not AI. The ability to write. You don't have to be a good writer to write a prompt. It makes a world of difference if you are. Creative process, the ability to edit and brainstorm, iterate, and really, really come up with something incredibly creative, and to have that collaborative creative process with the AI. And that is not a technical skill, and that is not something that AI can do without your help. And then finally, experimentation, which goes back to what I think I've said this 100 times, but iterate, iterate, iterate. Joshua is in design thinking, but just this is stuff that AI can't do without human intervention. And in particular, it's something it can't do without creative human intervention. And then the other things we've got that AI does not have, we can collaborate with each other and with the AI. And it could be all three of us. We can communicate with each other. We have personal relationships. And while I anthropomorphize my AI all the time, not really a personal relationship, right? And then most important, we have empathy. And you can put empathy into your prompts because you understand it. You have empathy for what your learners are going through, so that gets included in your learning. You have empathy in general for how you feel as you're learning, anything that touches you. And that's the kind of thing an AI cannot replicate. So these are the things that we have that cannot be replicated by AI. And these are the reasons they're looking for creative people right now in the workforce. And these are also the reasons, again, that L&D needs to lead the AI strategy. So what skills have you found, new skills, I should say, have you found most valuable in your recent instructional design work? And I can't see the chat, Ellen, so I'm going to leave it to you to, oh, maybe I can. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Be able to pull it out.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, as people start putting their answers into the chat about what skills they found, I'm assuming AI related skills they have found valuable in their
yeah.
instructional design work. I did want to call out one that we got through the QA panel from Sabita, and that was about using AI for translation. So I'm not sure.
Oh my
Michelle,
gosh, yes.
yes, go ahead, please.
No, that is great. That is great. That is a great way to use AI. I still think you need to double check it, because one thing AI
Yes.
doesn't have that, again, users have, is context. Yeah, so culture and context, I should say. So what you say in Japan in one way may not be the same thing you say it in India or here in particular. So you still need to review it for culture and context to make sure it's appropriate, but it can really speed along translation.
Yeah. Yeah, that occurred to me too, that it would be a good way for you, us to do a better first pass or second pass, but then you always want to make sure you have a person who is fluent in the language double checking your work. There are a ton of amazing ideas coming through the chat about different things and skills that people have picked up where they're integrating AI. I think one of my favorite answers so far is qualitative analysis. I've been using that a lot, getting input from our various development tools and just saying, okay, what are we seeing? Analyze this chat log, figure out what we need to be doing. And then that kind of gives me a good place to start with additional analysis. There are some really good suggestions for other sources of tools. Someone mentioned Goblin.tools. Have you seen that
I
before?
saw that. I'm
Goblin
gonna have to
tools?
look at that.
Okay. Let's
I
think about writing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say I was so excited the other day when I realized that I was helping my fiance write he was moderating a panel, and everybody on the panel had a 5-minute deck, and he was supposed to ask questions based on their 5-minute deck, and he didn't want to read the decks. So I said, I just fed all the decks into Chat GPT, and I said, analyze these decks and generate 4 questions for each panelist. And then I gave it a few more things. And it did. And then the panelists the next day were like, oh my gosh, these are the best questions. I just love
Yeah,
how it can now analyze any sort of data you give it.
yes.
Numbers, words.
Well, and then help you express what you're seeing in that data, which I think brings me back to the thing that I wanted to bring up next. This reflects a lot of what people are putting in the chat, how they're using AI to enhance their skills in the instructional design sphere. And that is to enhance their writing, to make it faster or more efficient, coming
Yes.
up with scenarios, coming up with distractors, changing the way that you're phrasing things, thinking about ways to phrase things for a different audience. Um, what's interesting is that there's this feedback loop, right? Like the things that you write train the AI, and then the AI is phrasing it. So, is there some way that we should be thinking about that feedback loop when we're working with the AI, or is that a little bit beyond the scope of today's conversation?
Probably a little bit beyond scope of today's conversation, but
Okay.
I go out to Claude a lot and use that for my writing. But what I do is I'm like, I hate the way this sentence sounds. Please make it better. And I'm using it, and I'm laughing at Adina right now, actually, because she is a design thinking person like me. And yes, Adina, I was just at a conference and everybody walked into the booth. I kept saying, "What problem are you trying to solve?" um, oh wow, this is a fast. I could just sit here and read this all day. This is fascinating.
I know, right?
Okay, what everybody's doing. Yes. Wow. Oh, 10:50. Oh, okay. I gotta go. We gotta keep going. All
Keep
right.
going. Okay.
We gotta keep going. All right. Possible AI ID applications. So you can ideate brainstorming, data inputs, learning objectives, right? Oh, it's great to help you generate first pass learning objectives. Generally not the perfect ones, but it's good. And especially if you tell it to use the correct verbs, then you get away from all the understand. It's very good at getting rid of the weak verbs. KPIs and metrics, scenarios. It generates really great scenarios and analogies also in the scenarios for you. Iterate, do A/B comparisons, scoring methods, feedback analysis, learner journeys, content evolution, personalize, chatbot coach, which is interesting. And I've done it, and it's actually more effective, and it gets more effective every day. Real-time assistance, recommendations, dynamic gaming, predictive analytics, so much. Administrate, auto enrollment, things like that are just such a pain, right? Scheduling, predictive admin, calendaring isn't even on there, and it should be. Data gathering, optimize your learning analytics, feedback loops, ROI prediction, ROI improvement. We've got one client, we just did a little GPT for her to do. They're passing it through the company to generate their SMART goals every year, just so that everybody's will look in the same format, and it will help them develop actually useful SMART goals instead of ones that aren't useful at all. So there's a lot we can do with it that save everybody time and can still really increase our ROI. New career paths in instructional design. Now, I made up this first one myself, and I think it's a great title. I love this title because I think this is what we're going to have to do. AI curriculum curator, because AI might be designing all of our content, but we still need to go in and make sure it's right, make sure it's applicable, make sure it fits the learner. Of course, an analytics specialist, an adaptive learning designer, personalized learning designer, an ed tech integration specialist. With all the stuff that's out there and all the stuff that's still coming down the pike, we're going to have some people out there who just really know how to integrate all this into our systems and make our whole ecosystems talk to each other. It's more now than just being an LMS administrator. It's an ed tech administrator. And then learning innovation specialist. What's new? What's coming? What can we bring in? Let's find out what's out there and what can make things better. And then an immersive learning designer, because it's not all about AI, right? There's still AR and VR and so much other stuff out there right now that's so cool that we can't forget about either. One more word cloud. Let's go back out there. And what new career path most interests you? Enter a title, any title. This is you getting to be creative. What title do you want in the next decade or two? For me, I just hope it's one. Ooh, data storyteller. AI training designer. Organizational enabler. A lot of organizations need enabling. I agree with this. Innovation specialist. Retired. Rapporteur. Okay, a lot of people are retiring. I get it. AI learning specialists. Thanos.
Lots of interesting ones.
Director of prompts. At head of AI is actually one of the fastest growing titles out there I read today. AI graphic designer, that would be fun. Just
So, Michelle, as we're
distracted
getting
learning designer.
a few
Yes.
more ideas into the word cloud, I wanted to revisit a couple questions that came in from the
Yes.
chat. So I think M asked a question about skills that they like doing as part of instructional design being replaced by AI. But I want to
Oh,
juxtapose that with another question asked by a different participant, which is basically, many tech companies have been laying people off, anticipating the efficiencies of AI. Do you think that they're going to regret making those decisions?
I do. I think they're jumping the gun. I really do. Um,
Mhm.
I just think there's this, oh, AI can fix everything mentality right now, and AI can't fix everything, at least not yet. And I think what they're going to do, and in fact, in that Microsoft report I referenced, it flat out says employees are overworked, they are tired of it, they're overwhelmed, and they're using AI trying to create their own efficiencies, but being secretive about it, right? Because we don't want them to know that we're using AI to do it. But I just really think that original org chart is more accurate. We will augment our staff with AI, but we won't replace. And I do think that it will fall to people in L&D to really help make this happen. And I do think there's a lot of jumping the gun on. I understand how a lot of the maybe frontline jobs. I used to work at UPS, and a lot of automation is happening out in the hubs. And I understand how a lot of that can be replaced by robotics and AI. But you still need people who can fix those machines. And you still need people to monitor those machines so they don't get all tangled up. But I still understand how you can reduce staff there. But
Mhm.
I think overall, a lot of people are jumping the gun on this. It's not, AI is not a person, and it cannot figure everything out. The human
Agreed. And we
behind the
should,
AI.
yeah. As a job title, is that one of the things we saw in the word cloud? Yeah.
All right. I love this. I love this. Somebody's got prompt engineer, just a comment on that. I actually hate the term prompt engineer because it implies you have to have like a knowledge of like engineering, and I don't. I prefer what have I said, like crafting prompts or prompt writer, prompt crafter, prompt come up with all different terms. Anything to avoid engineer, because I think it Prompt director. I like that one. It just highly paid consultant. It just really, I don't know. I think prompt engineer scares people off. All right, everybody. One last slide. Your next steps as IDs, set your boundaries now to establish a governance plan. Be proactive. If you're not using AI, your company is not using AI, go forward with a plan for how your company could use AI. Establish governance. Coach AI as a human. It's exactly what this says. Forget about prompt engineering. Just converse with the AI and teach it. If you bring in your own AI, teach it its ethics, teach it, talk to it, provide direction, feedback. And I'm not kidding here. Tell it when it does a good job. It will respond better. Use AI every day. Get your AI skills up there. Use it often as you can. Use it for more than just a search engine. Use it to help enhance your writing. Use it to double check things. Learn how to use it to make yourself more efficient. Ask it, how can you use it to make yourself more efficient? Give it a task that you do every day and then ask it how it can help you. Shakespeare here. Study humanities. The challenge is not, oops, sorry. The challenge is not, can AI create what I imagine, but can I imagine to meet what AI can create? And I want to add one more thing onto this. What you see today, this is a quote, well, it's a paraphrase quote from Ethan Mollick, who is a professor of business at Wharton and AI kind of super genius. And he says, the worst AI is the AI you will see today. So basically, every day, this thing is improving and changing. So get in there and learn it and try to sort of keep up with it. The foundations aren't going to change. Python, how it's all made, and how to prompt, that's not going to go away. So get in there and really try and learn this stuff so that you can be ahead of the game. And that brings us to the end.
Wonderful presentation, Michelle and Ellen. Thank you so much. I think all of our attendees here really enjoyed it, and I love the answers to your questions. It really was made it very interactive. You see a lot of hearts, a lot of applause coming up on the stage there. So thank you so much. Thank you to ELB who sponsored this webinar, and thanks to all of you with your wonderful interactions and chat. We very much like that and in joining us. So everyone, have a good rest of your day. Until the next webinar, we'll see you then. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.